In today's video, I'm going to walk and talk you through how to analyse an ACCA financial reporting past paper, going through the requirements and how you're going to apply them to the scenario. So this is based on the March and June 2022 paper that you can see on the screen. You can download these from the ACCA Study Hub. These are the typical notes that you can actually have a look at. They look pretty black and white on there, but if you follow the techniques that I talk about in this video, you're going to be fine and producing notes like I used to use with my students in these style of question analysis. If you'd like access to those exclusive notes and videos, if you click the link in the description of this video, it's going to take you exactly there. But for the purposes of this video, nice and easy that you can see on the screen above me, this was all about some classic topic areas that ACCA love to test in the financial reporting exam. We had on here for part A, and I'm just highlighting the key areas that you would need to identify yourself. So on here we had gross profit, net profit, and return on equity. You would actually do these workings on the spreadsheet format, on the computer-based examination platform, should I say. And you can see on here, I've highlighted we had to calculate both 2007 and 2008. So for the 3 marks on there, you've only got just over 5 minutes for this. It's going to be the gross profit margin for both years, correctly done, with all workings shown, will get you 1 mark. Same for net profit. Same for return on equity, and the other key thing for your notes, if you're new to financial reporting, the ratios will not be given to you in your examination. We then come on to the part B on here. There was a first part where we're asked to use and complete the table provided. In your financial reporting ACCA exam, the examiner will try and guide you. Please follow that guidance. That is all what we're talking about here, so that you can see in this example, we had the table to complete, and when you go back through the scenario, there will always be hints and little tips as to what area of the requirement does it relate to. A well-prepared student that knows how to do scenario analysis and how to lay out their answer will pick up on these, like you can see highlighted above me, where it says the following pre-formatted table relates to part B on their part I. So someone who's under pressure in the exam, maybe they've left section C till last, which I would not recommend. You should be doing section A, then section C, then finishing with section B. And this is where it works it through that you've got the to be calculated bits. Again, this would be all done on the computer-based format with a final net profit percentage figure calculated at the end. But the bottom line on here, which it's asking for, is you have Venus Co. up at the top with its consolidated profit for the year. That means it's part of a group with the subsidiary. And at the end, we're going to have the net profit where it is just the Venus Co. as a single entity. That's where you can see on here, and I'll highlight it for you. As a result, we have the Venus Co. single entity. So Venus Co. before they purchase the subsidiary, and Venus Co. afterwards. After when they've purchased the subsidiary, that is where it's a consolidated set of financial statements. And from that, for part BI, we're asked to take into account if they'd not actually purchased Lutoco, who was the subsidiary in this case, and then to recalculate your net profit percentage. So what they're getting at here, and a marker will be looking for in your CBE exam, is even if you get the wrong net profit figure, as long as you apply your own workings, your own net profit figure to the relevant revenue. So take your net profit divided by the revenue, multiplied by 100, you would get 1 of the 5 marks because you've applied your own figure and you have used the table accordingly as well. That was the first 8 marks out of 20. The next key thing for your notes, where the external examiner says students fail this exam, is because of poor time management. For this exam, you have 1.8 minutes per mark, so 20 marks on there, 36 minutes is the guideline for it. Now, I know some students like to allocate a tiny bit more time for section C because it is very, very tricky. And also, another thing to note is it's marked by a human marker. In the financial reporting exam, A and B are on the computer-based system where you've got to select the right answer or do some calculations, put in the right number. Whereas this is actually seen by a professional qualified member who is a trained marker who will make their subjective opinion as to how many marks following a mark scheme that could be allocated. So you have more control over what you put down versus on the answers which the computer will mark. You can see it on here for the second part of B, which is asking about consolidated financial statements for one. Why are they not comparable to a single entity? And you've got to be saying to yourself, 3 marks on here, so I need 3 short paragraphs. And what I mean by that is 2 to 3 sentences, no more than that. Leave a line, then make your second point, 2 to 3 sentences, leave another line, and then a final paragraph at the end. So you've got to be thinking, if you're the marker, read the mind of them and say, here's my first paragraph, give me a mark for that. Here's my second paragraph, give me a mark for that. And the points that you should be making are, number 1, relating into your financial reporting knowledge on there. So when you consolidate any intragroup transactions between a parent and a subsidiary disappear upon consolidation, whereas those transactions are actually in the individual financial statements on there. So again, it's demonstrating your financial reporting knowledge and maybe those technical articles that you've been reading as well. Make sure you have a look at those on ACCA's study portal. And then the other areas for you to consider are the income statement, statement of profit and loss, or also the statement of financial position, the balance sheet. You could talk about a variety of different areas like intragroup loans or intragroup trade receivables, how we account for them. You've also got the provision for unrealised profits, what we account for in terms of equity as well. So on the actual consolidated financial statements, it's only the parents included in there, not the subsidiaries as well. So what I'm getting at is you can't compare apples with oranges on there, and that is where it is not a valid comparative for you to be using a single entity versus a consolidated financial statement. 3 paragraphs, and so you've got the best chance of getting the full 3 marks. Finally, we're coming on to section C now, what you had to analyse, and this is the key thing that can come up again in your financial reporting exam. Short and sweet on here, using your answers from part A and B. Now, what you should be getting down to note from there is, no matter what your answer is, the marker has to take it at face value and mark it accordingly on there. So list those out, put down your answers, and then there will always be little keywords in your financial reporting exam, which in this case we had a comparative comparison to performance. So you had to refer back to your answers from A and B. Has the performance gone up? Has the performance gone down? And why was this the case? You'll also see on there other areas such as 2007 to 2008, referring to both the years. And on here, they even put specifically addressing the managing director's comments. So if it was you in the actual financial reporting examination, you go straight up to the scenario and you say to yourself, right, where have I seen the the managing director, and then putting in their comments on there. And you see here straight away, managing director of Venus, the parent company, highlight it for you and go to that paragraph and say, right, this is what the marker is looking for. What can I, and this is great exam technique, what can I directly quote from here? So straight away, I'm doing it if I was you right now. The managing director was disappointed on there. So you've got to talk about performance, and the expectation straight away is the managing director is already disappointed. Should the person be disappointed? Yes or no? This is where you apply your knowledge and the figures from the scenario. What did they expect to see? A higher gross profit. That is one point that you should be referring to within your answer. Why did they expect that? Well, they had discounted purchases. Again, referring directly to the scenario on there because they've purchased this subsidiary. They're thinking to themselves, we bought the subsidiary on here, or 70% of it, and therefore we want discounted purchases using their expertise. And then from there, they've actually said that Lutoco has not had the positive impact they expected. So that is, again, another thing that you could refer to, that they're saying, we expected them to have a positive impact on there, but we don't think they have. However, you can actually say to yourself, right, well, let's have a look through some of the figures. Let's have a look through some of the actual ratios. And as you can see on here, they've still had an increase in net profit on there. and then you have to go to some of the notes on top of that to build in your argument to say, let's get specific on here to the subsidiary. How have they performed with or without the new parent on there? In this case, they actually purchased the subsidiary partway through the year, which you can see in other videos that I've done on there. But you can see on here, Lutoco had recognised revenue of $5 million, which resulted in them making a profit. So they are still profitable nevertheless. And these are the things that you need to build into your financial reporting examination. But like I said, if you have a look in the description of this video below, you can access the full notes top to bottom, along with some extra answer analysis that will definitely help you to pass your examination. So best of luck. Make sure you give this video a massive like, leave me a comment below any questions you have, and I'll see you on the other side. I've put a couple of videos at the end here that relate to your financial reporting exam that are definitely going to help you to pass. So best of luck, and thank you very much.